block at level 7, 14, 20. Bow skill makes you more proficient with bows and arrows, increasing the power of your attacks until you reach level 5. You're unable to hold the bow correctly, and when firing the string will flay your forearm, causing injury unless you are wearing a vambrace or other arm guard, in which case firing will only drain stamina. Mace skill makes you more proficient with maces, increasing the power of your attacks. Sword skill makes you proficient with swords, increasing the power of your attacks. Unarmed combat skill makes you more proficient when fighting with your fist, increasing the damage you make. Skills. Alchemy. The better your master of alchemy, the easier it is to brew potions, even if you make minor mistakes. A master who adheres carefully to the recipe, on the other hand, can make up to 3 potions from the same ingredients as one. Drinking. Drinking skill makes you more resistant to the nefarious effects of alcohol. You'll be able to drink up to twice as much, and after effects the next day will be lowered. Herbalism. Herbalism skill allows you to collect more herbs with a single action. This means that you are able to gather plants more quickly and easily. Horsemanship. And as you can see, that kind of goes down to quite a bit too. So let's take a look. Drinking. Beer. Bibber. The beer you get is 50% weaker, so you can drink more, but wine is twice as strong and will make you make you drunk faster. Drinking habit. Under the influence of alcohol, your hand will shake 20% less and your bow skill is higher by +2, but when you're sober, your hand will shake 20% more. That's bad. Wine bibber. The wine you get is 50% weaker, so you can drink more, but beer is twice as strong and will make you more drunk. Can be combined with the beer bibber perk. Drunk. The benefits of alcohol last twice as long, and unless you drink yourself to oblivion, you suffer no negative effects. But once sober, your hangover will also last twice as long. Loose tongue. When drunk, you get a 50% bonus on speech and charisma. When hungover, these stats drop by 50. True Slav. You get drunk on 50% less alcohol, saving your hard-earned groschen, and your hangover the next day lasts only half as long. But bear in mind that getting drunk quickly brings both the positive and negative effects of alcohol. Bacchus. You will never drink yourself to oblivion, but the negative effects of your hangover will be 30% stronger. Can be combined with Safe Passage perk. Safe Passage. When you drink yourself to oblivion, you'll wake up at home in bed and none of your inventory items will be gone. Top shelf. Spirits are 50% weaker for you, so you can drink more. Well, what can I say? I can't wait to get drunk. Alchemy. Salted and smoked, cured or cooked food in your inventory will spoil 20% more slowly. Water of life. Healing potions will heal you 50% more, but will also intoxicate you 50% more. Witcher. Potions will fill you up 30% less, which means you can drink more of them and more often. Trial and error. When brewing, you can make an extra mistake without affecting the result. Venomous blade. Poison applied to a weapon will remain on the blade longer. Snake oil salesman. Potions you brew yourself have a 20% higher selling price. Bundle alchemist. When you successfully brew a potion, you get 1 extra, doesn't apply to auto brew. Routine 1. You can now auto brew potions. You have brewed ones before, but you can only brew 1. Routine. Auto brewing will produce 3 potions for the price of 1. Obviously, that's certainly awesome. Herbalism. Flower power. If you've got enough fragrant herbs in your inventory, you get a +2 charisma bonus. Horse nip. If your horse has enough fragrant herbs in its saddlebag, it will shy less. Botanist. The herbs you sell have a 15% higher price. Leg day. A herb picking activity will add experience to your strength stat too. Horsemanship. A heavy-duty pony, your horse can carry more, but its lower can be combined with raised horse perk. Raised horse. Your horse is faster but carries less weight, can be combined with heavy-duty pony perk. Dread steed. If your horse is wounded, it will run faster. Rider on the storm, your horse will be extremely skittish in storms but will shy less in any other weather. Strong thighs increases your chances of staying in the saddle if an opponent tries to unhorse you. If an opponent tries to unhorse. Knight. You get a 50% damage bonus in mounted combat with bow range and melee weapons. Warhorse. Your horse won't shy at nearby foes, at least as long as no one hits him. Jockey. A horse will never throw you outside of combat. So that was horsemanship. Horsemanship skill determines how much your horse will shy, how quickly it will get tired, and therefore how long it will be able to gallop. Now hunting. Hunter's skill increases the amount of meat and other useful materials you recover from animals you kill. Antlers enables you to get antlers from hunted animals. Tusks. You're able to remove tusks from some animals. Butcher. You'll be able to get offal from hunted game. Tanner. You are able to skin dead animals. A huntsman. You'll cause wild animals 20% more damage. Wild at heart. Wild animals will be less skittish when you are close. Forester. Your conspicuousness and visibility fall sharply in woods, so you can be stealthier, useful especially when stalking people. Salty. Raw foods in your inventory won't spoil so fast. Steak tartare. You can eat raw meat. Oh wow. Hello, Stone Age. Lockpicking. Lockpicking skill makes picking locks on doors or chests easier. The jittering or hardness of locks is lowered and you can attempt picking the more difficult ones. Lasting lockpicks. Your lockpicks will be more durable and last twice as long. I think that's very, very useful because stealing is certainly a good idea in this game. After successfully picking a lock, you have a 20% chance of any broken lockpicks returning to your inventory. Deft grip. The starting position when lockpicking will be closer to the end of the lock, making it easier to open. Luck of the drunk. It will be 30% easier for you to open locks when drunk, but it will also be 30% noisier. Silent fiddler. You are able to work almost silently with a lockpick, even if lockpicking isn't going well. The noise a snapping lockpick makes is reduced by 90%. Sixth sense. Your sixth sense will warn you if someone is about to catch you in the act of lockpicking, so you'll have more time to escape. Lucky thief. If your lockpicking breaks, you will have a 10% chance of opening the lock instantly. Master thief. You can unlock easier locks automatically. Maintenance allows you to repair things with repair kits and weapons at a grindstone. The higher your skill level, the easier it is to use the grindstone and the longer your repair kit will last. At a higher level, you will be able to repair more badly damaged items. Fragrance. With freshly downed clothes on, you have a +1 higher charisma for 1 day. If you're wearing boots, you repair yourself. Sprinting will cost you 20% less stamina, so you can run for longer. Savile row. Every item of clothing you're wearing that you have repaired yourself adds a 0.5 to charisma up to a maximum bonus of +2. Doesn't apply to armor. Stuffing. When you repair your own armor, you're able to pad it so it doesn't jangle as much and lower your stealth ability. Serrated edge. A weapon you have sharpened yourself has a 50% greater chance of causing bleeding. Tin opener. A weapon you have sharpened yourself will cause 50% greater damage to your opponent's armor and equipment. Blacksmith's son. Weapons you repair with a repair kit have a 10% stronger attack until they get too damaged. Well groomed. The attire you have on will suffer 15% less wear and tear. Pickpocketing. Comrade. Increases the chance of pickpocketing someone with the same charisma level as you have. Such people are usually dressed similarly to you. Secret pockets. When looting corpses, you will find more money. Crowd control reduces the chance of being discovered when there's a lot of people around. Easy way out: the movement of the cursor in pickpocketing victim's inventory will be twice as fast. Item Expert 1 reveals stats for half the items in a pickpocketing victim's purse. Pickpocket Site 1 immediately reveals one of the items in the pickpocketing victim's inventory. Friendly Neighbor: if anyone who likes you at least a little catches you pickpocketing, they won't call a guard on you. Your reputation will still fall though. Hidden Pockets: when arrested and searched, you'll keep some of the stolen items in your inventory. Item Expert 2 reveals the stats for all items in a pickpocketing victim's purse. Pickpocket Site 2 immediately reveals 3 of the items in the pickpocket victim's inventory. Pickpocket Site 3 immediately reveals all the items in a pickpocket victim's inventory. Obviously, pickpocketing may be very profitable. Reading. Reading skill influences the ability of your character to actually read books. Without it, any book is just gibberish to him. Higher reading skill decreases the amount of time required to read and comprehend the book. It looks like this character right here does not know how to read. Colleague. All books are cheaper in shops. In the flow. When reading, you will get tired and hungry twice as slowly as normal. Art connoisseur. The first time you look at a fresco cross or wayside shrine, your charisma will increase temporarily by 2. Magistrate 1. Being well learned, you make a better impression on people. Get a +1 speech bonus when trying to persuade a guard. Avid reader. Your level of study of book you have read most of will advance automatically while sleeping or skipping time. Your level of study of the book you have read most of will advance automatically while sleeping or skipping. Okay. Caution. If you are sitting comfortably, you get double reading bonus. Magistrate 2. Your speech bonus when trying to persuade guards rises to 2. Okay. Stealth. Stealth skill shortens the distance at which you will be seen by the enemy and increases the time it will take them to spot you. It is improved by moving stealthily in the vicinity of the enemy. Takedown lets you knock people out from a crouching position, so we already have this one. Daring Debonair. After committing a crime, you get a +1 bonus on strength and vitality until you're caught or leave the scene of the crime. Rain Man. You move almost silently in the rain. The noise of your footsteps is reduced by 70%. Crouching Chameleon. When crouching without movement, you get a 30% stealth bonus. Stealth Kill allows you to kill from stealth. You have to have a dagger. Ordinary Mug. When you are wanted, people will be less likely to recognize your face and will soon stop looking for you. Slim Fit lowers the noise of armor and other equipment by 20%. Dog Person. Dogs won't bark at you. Et tu, Brute. Your attacks from behind will be 1/3 stronger. No buffs whatsoever. Reputation at Skalitz is 100, which is unclear if that's a big deal or not. And that's from the villagers themselves. Statistics. Let's take a look. Total time played. Okay. These are pretty much the statistics. And obviously we just started to play, so there's nothing really here. But we can have like a closer look at what kind of a things here are that we are going to encounter while doing this. Okay, we don't have a horse, so I cannot even select a horse. We already know and check the quest log. Let's move on to Codex. So the general, animal husbandry. Animal husbandry. In the Middle Ages, A significant part of any property ownership consisted of livestock, horses, goats, cattle, and poultry. Horses were highly prized and until the 12th century were only available for the nobility for military purposes and for light hauling. The change came in the 12th and 13th centuries when horses came to be used for transport and tillage. In Bohemia, horses began to be shod from the 11th and 12th century up to 13th century as a rule on the front hooves, and later when horses were used for heavier work on all four. Almost every serf in the Middle Ages would prefer to own a cow than a piece of arable land. So even some landless folk had access to food by way of milk. Curiously enough, in the Middle Ages, milk and dairy goods were not traded much. For one thing, many people had a cow of their own, but also because no effective means of milk and dairy product preservation was yet known. Sheep were kept by both serfs and the upper classes, largely for the wool. The poorest often kept a goat for milk and cheese. Pigs left to forage in the woods all year round, feeding on beech nuts and acorns. Medieval pigs were much like wild boar and had little in common with today's pink animals. The most commonly kept poultry were chickens and only rarely geese or ducks. All cattle grazed freely on the meadows around the village. In heavy winters, the livestock was kept inside the house, even sharing the same room with the people and serving as a source of heat. Carts and wagons. In the Middle Ages, wagons were used for transport, agricultural work, and for wartime purposes. One of the simplest was a two-wheeled cart, while hay wagons, hay vanes, were also to be seen. The oldest high-wheeled carts had one central axle connected to the undercarriage from the 14th century on. Twin-axled four-wheeled wagons came into use. The front axle was not steerable, resulting in a very wide turning radius. Wagons did not have a seat for the coachman, who either rode astride one of the horses or walked alongside the wagon. In a wartime, a wagon could be turned into a mobile field palisade, a strategy that became famous especially during the Hussite Wars, when the strategy of wagon walls won more than one battle for the Calixtines Hussite forces. Ecumenical Council. Ecumenical councils were ecclesiastical assemblies of representatives who discussed and debated on the topic of faith and church administration. For example, the Great Council of Constance, 1414-1418, which lasted 4 years and dealt with the issues of the Reformation and the papal schism, and also condemned the preacher John Hus of heresy, resulting in his execution by burning. Faith and devotion. Christianity was adopted by Chesleans as early as the 10th century, though certain pagan practices remained until later, especially in rural areas, blending seamlessly with rising Christianity. Some of the folk customs were later modified according to church instructions, others continued unchanged, and yet others were eradicated completely under church pressure. In addition to a deep faith in saintly patronage, the saints Venceslas, Vitus, Nicholas, Ludmila, Adalbert, etc., in the Middle Ages revered the Virgin Mary and the various patron saints of the professions. One manifestation of medieval piety consisted of wayside shrines, consolation stones or crosses put up in large numbers in villages, at intersections and along the main byways. In royal cities and liege towns, it was important to collect holy relics, remains, and memorabilia. To mark the saints, the cult of saints was encouraged, and cathedrals and churches gained prestige with the relics they held. It need not be emphasized that most of the relics were fakes and that nobody took much issue with it. Devotion was shown in everyday life and accompanied everyone from the cradle to the grave by way of church rituals, occasions for worship, religious holidays or regulations, for example, the numerous fasts or Lenten days. In some way or other, everyone believed in God. For complete atheism, we have to look to later centuries. Farming. Unlike today, when the land has long been given over to agriculture, the burgeoning of farming in the Middle Ages brought the need for new fields where there were only forests and untitled land. The timber from forest clearing was used for construction. The remaining root stumps and scrub were burned and the ground then leveled. The finished fields were cultivated by the three-field system. A third of the land lay fallow for 2 years to recover nutrients. This was used for grazing livestock, which added manure. It was then returned to use and tile, while in turn another third, which